Tonight on News 22, the nation is wondering if Brett Kavanaugh will be approved to the Supreme Court. Marlene Barraza investigates a case of one student struggling to get help from housing. And Andrea Vasquez shows us how chili can be far more tasty. All that and more on News 22 Thursday.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Mendez.
And I'm Shelby Kapp.
The FBI's supplemental background report on Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh is out and under review.
Camila Burnell is in Washington to explain how the White House Republicans and Democrats are responding.
Senators who requested the supplemental FBI background check got what they requested, and I am ready to vote.
All 100 U.S. senators are being given the opportunity to review the FBI's supplemental background investigation report on Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. But it may come down to what some key senators think of the report.
It's with the Senate now, but we feel very confident.
The White House has reviewed the report and is firmly behind Kavanaugh, as is Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
No, the facts do not support the allegations levied at Judge Kavanaugh's character. Instead, many of the facts actually support Judge Kavanaugh's strong, unequivocal denial.
But top Democrats say the investigation into Kavanaugh's past, including sexual assault allegations, is incomplete.
The most notable part of this report is what's not in it.
We are reiterating our call that the documents with proper redaction be made public.
But the FBI's report is not public and will likely never be. And some of those key undecided Republicans have already reviewed the report and said it appears thorough, suggesting that the Senate may move forward with the vote on Kavanaugh by this weekend.
I'll be proud to vote to advance this nomination tomorrow.
In Washington, I'm Camila Burnell reporting.
While the Judiciary Committee is scheduled to vote tomorrow, New Mexico Senator Tom Udall said today he will not be voting for Kavanaugh. He also took the time to speak about Dr. Christina Balsey Ford.
At its core, sexual assault is a crime of power. Dr. Ford has confronted some of the most powerful in our nation and told the truth. I thank her for her courage in coming forward and for empowering other survivors to do the same.
He said she gives victims across the country the courage to let their stories be known. And you know, finally it's starting to get cool at night and in the morning too.
I think we're starting to feel fall weather, finally.
Yeah, it's jacket in the morning and no jacket in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's great.
And Kristen is next with our first look at weather.
Thanks, guys. This is Christian Cermeño with your current conditions. Currently, we are experiencing mostly sunny skies with temperatures at about 85 degrees. Winds coming in from the west-southwest at about 9 miles per hour. Humidity is at about 29% with dew point at 46 degrees. Finally, our barometer is at 29.83 inches. Taking a look at today's temperatures, we did receive a high of 89 degrees, which was a couple degrees above our average, which was at 83 degrees. Finally, we did experience an overnight low of 61 degrees. Taking it back to record temps, back in 2000, we did experience a warm 93 degrees, and all the way back in 1961, we did experience a chilly 35 degrees. And we didn't experience any rain today, leaving our yearly rainfall at about 3.73 inches. Now that's all I have for you all. Back to the desk.
Only one state has cut higher education more than New Mexico. The group called New Mexico Voices for Children says New Mexico is not making adequate investment in higher education. The group says that decreasing state and rising tuition costs is causing many young people to give up their dreams on going to college. The group says that the only state who cut education more is Louisiana.
As reported earlier this week, the salary of professors from the University of New Mexico are amongst the lowest in the nation. The information was found through a survey that the UNM participated in. NMSU did not participate in the same survey, leaving the most recent salaries for professors unknown. Although data found in 2016, the average NMSU professor took home about $95,000 per year, much less than professors at UNM.
Moving into the dorms is often an exciting time for new students. But as Marlene Barraza reports, sometimes things can take a turn for the worst when these old buildings create new problems. Full disclosure, the student in this story is a member of the News 22 crew.
This is where it all started. The water kept leaking, they couldn't get it to stop.
Oh my God. It was a Saturday morning.
Our sink overflowed, that it came all the way here, and everything that was in these drawers where I had all my food had to be thrown away because of all the water that ruined it. We had to get all these chairs and move them back there, and we had to move all our furniture against there because the water reached about here. And we had the door open, all the windows open because there was a really strong odor.
But the most damage was the carpet.
This area is where it got the worst, and none of it is stuck on. None of this is.
She started calling immediately, and several hours later, the maintenance team stopped the flooding, and Kelly went to stay with a friend. 3 days later, she returned to a clean room, but the carpet was still wet and smelly. She went to the housing department.
So I said, well, can my carpet get changed? Can I get compensation for all the things that I lost? And she was like, I don't know if that's in your agreement. I felt really frustrated at this point because nobody was listening to me.
Eventually, a health inspector agreed it was not safe to stay there, and Kelly got the new carpet. So what caused the problem in the first place? Interim Executive Director of Housing and Residential Life at NMSU, Ophelia Watkins, said in a statement it was an isolated incident. A clogged kitchen sink caused the water to back up. It took a week before Kelly could move back into her room. She feels it took too long and she had to push too hard to get something done.
So for them to let me down like that, I was really hurt. And I had to stay in another place. It was just so stressful. I had school. It was a lot to deal with.
Interim Housing Director Watkins said in a statement, "We understand this is our students' home away from home, and we encourage them to let us know whenever there is a problem so we can address it as quickly as we can. Our students' health and well-being is our primary concern, so we take care to be respectful and responsive to our residents' requests."
I can come home and go back to my normal life.
Kelly is happy to be back in her room, but the incident is not entirely over. She's making a claim to get compensation for her damaged belongings.
So I'm relieved.
Marlene Barraza, News 22.
In a final statement, Watkins said the building is about 10 years old. About 600 sinks, only 2 have been backed up this semester, but no significant problems for residents.
A $1.2 million renovation project at Gadsden High School is finished. The Old English building was restored through a recent bond that upgraded the school. Gadsden Independent School District invited 5 of the oldest living alumni who studied at the original building to the ribbon-cutting ceremony. The high school band and Naval JROTC performed at the ceremony.
If you have overdue library books, you have a chance to return them without consequences. October 21st through October 27th is Amnesty Week at Thomas Brannigan Memorial Library. No matter how late your items are, all fees will be waived. If you receive amnesty, your library card will be restored to new borrower status. It will soon be easier for New Mexicans to get licenses for certain jobs. Governor Susana Martinez signed the executive order Wednesday. It makes it easier for people to enter the workforce by lowering the education requirements for entry-level positions. Martinez also said licensing fees for certain occupations are being reduced or waived for poor and low-income residents who received food stamps.
The student government here at NMSU is considering changing the way the campus celebrates Columbus Day. The idea is to call it Indigenous People Day in honor of the Native Americans whose cultures were destroyed when Europeans settled in America. NMSU Miss Native America says honoring Columbus is not something Indigenous people want to do.
Native Americans aren't really happy about that day, celebrating the man who was responsible for all these horrendous acts. So what we like to focus on is we wanted to create something that would combat Columbus Day.
Indigenous People Day will be celebrated Saturday through Monday in Albuquerque and Santa Fe. And stay tuned, Christian will be back to take a look at your national forecast.
And later, Andrea Vasquez takes an inside look at some spicy details of local chilies. More on that when News 22 continues.
Hi, I'm Rick Bayless, and I'd like to invite you on a journey with me through a different Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula. On season 11 of Mexico One Plate at a Time, I'm going to introduce you to the region's most creative chefs, making truly amazing dishes inspired by the local markets and all the rich culinary traditions.
Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
Registering to vote in New Mexico is easy. Forms are available at Department of Motor Vehicles offices and your county clerk's office. And those with a driver's license or other state ID may register to vote online at sos.state.nm.us. You must be 18 years old at the time of the next election. Voting is a responsibility of citizenship. This message brought to you by KRWG.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Thursday,
where news matters. Chilies, we love them for the flavor and the heat, but what about the vitamins as well?
Research at NMSU can shed some light on how some chilies can be processed to where we can eat the vitamins our bodies cannot produce. Andrea Vasquez reports.
Just be careful with this stuff. This one is spicy.
Assistant Professor Yvette Guzman is in charge of research at the Plant and Environmental Sciences at NMSU. She collaborates with medicinal compounds in chiles and other crops, but she isn't looking at the red or green chile, just the yellow-colored ones. And they have the compounds she needs.
And so what we have found is that some peppers do have high amounts of these two compounds, these two pigments, which are called lutein and zeaxanthin. So once we harvest them from the field, we bring them to the lab, we process them, and then we start doing chemical extraction. We're also looking at beta-carotene as well.
Beta-carotene is a provitamin which we need for a healthy immune system and lowers the risk of developing cancer and heart disease.
The human body cannot produce lutein or zeaxanthin, which reduces memory loss, vision loss, protects the eyes and brain nerve cells from damaging blue light. But with the help of the research of Dr. Guzman and her students, we can find a way to put these compounds in any of our meals.
We harvest a bunch of chilies, cut them up, de-seed them, flash freeze them in liquid nitrogen. We put them in a machine that takes all of the moisture out. We saponify it in order to get pure lutein and zeaxanthin. But we really want to make it so that way you can consume the chili powder or the chili pepper as a whole. You know, you can cook it and not have to take like supplements or anything.
So could we add it to like protein bars or vitamin, like vitamin drinks or salad dressings? I mean, you name it, we could add it to anything to develop a functional food.
The research is still ongoing, and maybe sooner than we hope, we'll be able to literally eat our vitamins. With News 22, I'm Andrea Vasquez.
Las Cruces High School students are giving back to the community. On Wednesday, students from Las Cruces High went to Valley View Elementary School to help students tend to the school's community garden. Students from Las Cruces High environmental science classes worked alongside 2nd through 5th graders to help clean up their garden. The high schoolers taught the elementary students gardening techniques and provided encouragement. Las Cruces is having the 5th annual Peak Fair today, from 4 to 8 p.m. on Locust Street on the New Mexico State University campus. It will host an array of artists, food vendors, and entertainers, and much more. The purpose is for students and community members to explore business, places, and activities in the area. It is free and open for everyone.
To do is to now, after about 6 weeks in the semester, give our students opportunity to see what's out in the community, ways to get to volunteer, places to go eat, places to go and do things.
So I actually heard that it's already snowing in some parts of the country.
Lucky them. I think we're still not even able to wear heavy jackets yet, but how exciting for them.
Well, Christian is next with our weather.gov national forecast.
Now it's time to take a look at our national forecast. As we can see demonstrated by this map, Pennsylvania did experience 13 tornadoes about 2 days ago. This is very significant because it does break the record of most tornadoes, which was set all the way back in October of 1979. In my next map, we'll take a look at the country's temperatures as a whole. As we can see here, the states in the south and southeast regions of the United States are still experiencing those warm summer-like temperatures, with places like El Paso at 91 degrees, Dallas at 90 degrees, and even over here on the East Coast in the high 80s and 90s. On the other hand, up in the north, we do see chilly winter-like temperatures, with Cut Bank at a chilly 37 degrees and experiencing some slight snowfall as well, and International Falls at 44 degrees as well. Now in my final map, we'll take a look at the rain and snowfall chances throughout the country as well. As demonstrated by this light green area, these states will receive about 1 to 2 inches of rain throughout the next couple of days. And all the way up here in these light blue areas, these states will receive 1 to 3 inches of snowfall throughout the next couple of days. We will be right back after this short break. You're watching News 22.
All Things Considered, weekday afternoons from 4 to 7 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
Celebrate Lifetime Achievement Awards in music.
Neil Diamond. Tina Turner.
Queen, and more, with the Recording Academy's Grammy Salute to music legends on Great Performances.
Friday at 8 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Next time on A Chef's Life.
These pears are better than they look.
They are.
Spray, man. What are you doing? Spray them.
That's not something you see every day. I gave it everything that I had. To have it here is really powerful.
Oh, that's great.
That's bigger than life. I hope this is not a bad idea. Very expensive, bad idea.
Saturday morning at 10:30 on KRWG Public Media.
Welcome back to News 22. Now it's time to take a look at New Mexico now. As we can see here, Farmington will be at 66 degrees, Ruidoso at 67 degrees, Clovis at 74 degrees, Las Cruces at 83 degrees, and finally Deming at 81 degrees. Taking a look at tomorrow's temperatures, Farmington will be at a chilly 69 degrees, Albuquerque at 79 degrees, Las Cruces at 90 degrees, and Deming at 89 degrees as well. Taking a look at our neighboring cities, Alamogordo is going to have clear skies tonight with a low of 68 degrees and a high tomorrow of 89 degrees. Now taking a look at Truth or Consequences, they will have clear skies this evening as well with a low of 66 degrees and a high of 89 degrees. Silver City is going to be experiencing the same clear weather with a low of 56 degrees and a high of 78 degrees. And finally, here in the city of Las Cruces, we will have clear skies this evening and tomorrow with a low of 61 degrees and a high tomorrow of 90. That's all I have for you all. Back to the desk.
One student is dead and 3 others injured after a bus accident in Dallas-Fort Worth yesterday afternoon.
Here's Kelly Garcia Moreno with today's Southwest Minute.
The bus went out of control, hit a power line, flipped, and caught on fire. 42 students were on the bus on their way to their middle school in Mesquite. Former rap mogul Marion Suge Knight is facing 28 years in prison for the death of Terry Carter. Officials say he hit Carter with his truck in 2015. This happened near the set of Straight Outta Compton. And a fire crew woke up to the sound of a garbage container falling over. When they checked the next day, they saw Mother Bear looking over the trash. Her cubs were trapped inside. One fireman distracted the mama bear while the others lifted the lid so the cubs could escape. I'm Kelly Garcia Moreno with today's Southwest Minute.
So I've heard that both our men's and women's tennis team, some of the players have been receiving a lot of awards lately.
Oh, how exciting for them.
Yes, Kristen's going to tell us all about that. She's next with sports.
Thanks, Stephanie and Shelby. Coming up in sports, the alumni are back in town to cheer on NMSU. Find out what the Aggies' chances are of winning the homecoming game.
Egypt, land of the pharaohs, deep inside a secret place, hidden beneath the sands of time, a newly discovered tomb. From ancient ashes and mummy wrappings, a phantom horror rises. Witness terrifying results as past and present converge in dramatic theater of the mind. Call of the Mummy, a radio drama.
Saturday at 10 p.m. on KRWG Media.
I'm Rick Steves. Join me in Germany's Saxony region. Starting in Dresden, we'll visit a great church that rose from the ashes of World War II and marvel at the city's royal palace with its porcelain, jewels, and armor. Then, in Leipzig, we'll peek into a secret police headquarters, recall how people power brought down communism, and finish at a massive war memorial from the time of Napoleon.
Saturday at 8 p.m. on KRWG Media.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. It's time to kick it with Kristen. The New Mexico State football team is preparing for the homecoming game against Liberty on Saturday. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. at Aggie Memorial Stadium. If you are not able to make it to the game, it will be televised on Aggie Vision. The Aggies are going into this game with a record of 1-4, while Liberty has a record of 2-2. This past Saturday, Liberty took on UNM and won 52-43. And the Aggies are also coming off of a win against their I-10 rivals, UTEP. This will be the first of 2 matchups for NMSU versus Liberty this season. Their next game against each other will be November 24th at Liberty. The New Mexico State women's soccer team is going on their first WAC road trip tomorrow. They are set to play California Baptist at 2 p.m. in Riverside, California. The Aggies will then travel to Kansas City, Missouri on Sunday to take on UMKC at 12 p.m. Aggie fans will be able to catch the games on the WAC Digital Network. Staheen Dahan and Chloe Gavino are the WAC Singles Players of the Month. Lindsay Harless and Harsha Chawla are the WAC Doubles Team of the Month, and GCU had the WAC Males Doubles Team of the Month. It was announced on Tuesday that the NMSU women's tennis team swept the first honors of the season. Dahan received his honor after going 7-1 in September. Gavino was the Aggie Invitational Singles Flight Champion, while Harless and Chawla were Aggie Invitational Doubles Flight Champions. The New Mexico State football locker campaign is sold out. The campaign began at the start of the 2017 football season and has now raised $130,000. Each locker sponsorship was $1,500, which included an etched metal plate listing the sponsoring player's name, position, jersey number, and years played. And high school football is back in action this weekend. On Friday, Las Cruces High and Centennial will battle it out at the Field of Dreams, and Oñate will travel to Hobbs for an away conference game. Both games will be at 7 p.m. Mayfield has a bye week, but will be back on the 12th to face off against Centennial. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action next week. Still ahead on News 22, Christian will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, there's a national day for everything, and today it's tacos. Find out more about how our crew likes a tasty treat when News 22 returns.
Coming up on Austin City Limits.
Saturday at 9 p.m. on KRWG Media.
Sharing recipes is really sharing cultures. It's a delicious way of looking at history.
Well, hi, Brad sister.
Am I going to get into my groove?
Yeah.
I'm too hot to handle.
Saturday morning at 9:30 on KRWG Public Media.
Let's take a look at our top stories. Everyone is still waiting for tomorrow to find out the final decision on whether or not Brett Kavanaugh will be approved to the Supreme Court. Marlene Barraza took us inside one of the students' apartments on campus that had been flooded and showed us the problems that she encountered. And Andrea Vasquez spoke to an NMSU professor about a compound found in chilies that could make us healthier.
Let's talk about Taco Thursday. It's National Taco Day, and if you haven't got your taco fixing, you still have time. It seems like there's a national day for everything nowadays, but this is a day I can get on.
So I haven't had any tacos today yet.
Neither have I, and I didn't even know. I'm excited. My favorite tacos are al pastor with a little avocado on the side.
Wow. Okay, so are you from El Paso?
I'm from El Paso.
Okay, so she knows about tacos. Where are you from?
El Paso as well.
You're from El Paso? Okay, so I'm the only one. I'm from California. I need to get a little better.
Yeah,
on
you
my
need to
tacos.
get across the border into Mexico with the best tacos, the best taco trucks. It's the best.
Well, in California, we actually put fries in our tacos.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
I'm sorry.
That's really weird.
Yeah,
I like putting like cilantro and the normal things on top, you know, salsa.
Yeah, most people when I tell them, they're like, oh my gosh,
I've never heard of
you can't
that.
stay around.
But it doesn't sound bad.
Perfect. Okay, so Christian, can you tell us how our 5 days looking?
Absolutely. In the upcoming 5 days, we're going to have mostly sunny skies throughout the week with high temperatures ranging from the upper 70s to the low 90s and lows ranging from the high 40s to mid to upper 50s. In my opinion, this looks like some great weather for the ball game this upcoming Saturday.
Are you guys going to go to the tailgate?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And to the game?
Exciting.
Yes.
Okay, good. I need support.
Perfect.
And don't forget, you can catch all of today's aired stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page at youtube.com/KRWG News 22.
And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat for show updates and the latest on what the News 22 team is up to. And that's all for News 22 Thursday. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
Tune in next week for more news from across the Southwest. I'm Shelby Kapp.
I'm Stephanie Mendez.
I'm Christian Cermeño. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
This news brief in Español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a este breve informativo de Noticias 22. Les acompaña Diana Castillo. Bomberos respondieron a un incendio en un hogar el jueves por la tarde. Solo un hombre de 25 años fue encontrado adentro del hogar. El hombre fue transportado a un hospital sin lesiones serias. El interior del hogar recibió daños menores y daños de humo. La causa del incendio no ha sido determinada. En otras noticias, un hombre de 65 años de edad fue atropellado por un vehículo a principios de la noche del domingo. Julián Holguín falleció el miércoles en el Centro Universitario del Paso. El accidente ocurrió en la avenida Utah, cerca del Paseo Road. La policía de las Cruces aprendió que el conductor de un Toyota 4Runner iba en dirección al oeste, en Utah, y se acercaba a la intersección de la carretera del Paseo, cuando el vehículo golpeó a Holguín. Holguín estaba inconsciente cuando fue transportado al Centro Médico Regional de Mountain View. La policía de las Cruces continúa la investigación del accidente. No olviden seguirnos por nuestras redes sociales, por Facebook y Instagram. Esto es todo por hoy. Gracias por su sintonía. Para Noticias 22, Diana Castillo.